"You're disowned. Don't ever step into this house again," my dad typed in the family WhatsApp group. 30 relatives watched it happen. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, a file appeared. My name is Rachel Monroe. I'm 37 years old. I'm a compliance analyst for a regional insurance firm. I spend my days reviewing policy documents, checking regulatory filings, making sure everything matches up exactly the way it should. I've always been the quiet, rule-following one in my family. My older brother, Jason, runs the family construction business. It's a mid-size operation that Dad built from nothing over 30 years. Dad has always believed that leadership belongs to sons. That's just how he thinks. So while Jason handled the contracts and client meetings, I handled the paperwork. Permits, business contracts, property tax filings, all the boring stuff nobody wants to deal with. No one really noticed what I did. After Mom passed away 2 years ago, the tensions in our family got worse. Dad started leaning on Jason for every big decision, but he still needed me to handle the fine print, the documentation, the filing deadlines. I wasn't loud about it. I didn't demand credit. I just did the work. But here's what they didn't understand. I know documents. I understand them better than most people realize. If your family has ever humiliated you publicly, please subscribe. If you've been dismissed while doing the invisible work that keeps everything running, share your story in the comments. Click like or hype before we continue because sometimes silence isn't surrender. Sometimes it's preparation. It started about 3 months ago over a small parcel of land Dad owned on the edge of town. Nothing special, just 2 acres he'd bought years ago as an investment. Jason wanted to sell it quickly to one of his business associates, someone he'd been working with on a commercial project. When I saw the proposed sale price, something felt off. It was significantly below market value for land in that area. I pulled up recent comparable sales and sent Jason a polite email asking if we should get a second appraisal. He didn't respond to the email. Instead, he called Dad and told him I was trying to undermine the family. 2 days later, during a regular family dinner, Dad brought it up in front of everyone. "Why are you questioning your brother's judgment?" he asked me across the table. I tried to explain about the market comparisons, but he cut me off. "Jason knows what he's doing. You handle paperwork. That's it." The real blow came that night in our family WhatsApp group, the one with 30-plus relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. Dad typed out a message at 9:15. "You're disowned. Don't ever step into this house again." I stared at my phone screen in disbelief. Shocked face emojis started appearing immediately. My Aunt Teresa sent 3 question marks. Then Jason added his own message. "She's been causing trouble for months, always questioning everything. Dad's making the right call." I didn't type anything back. I just watched the messages pile up. 10 minutes later, I saw the notification. Rachel Monroe was removed from the group. The next day, I received an email from the family business accountant. I'd been removed from all official business records. My name was taken off account access, filing authorizations, everything. Then Dad changed the locks on the office storage unit where we kept archived files. I drove by and tried my key. It didn't work. I stood there in the parking lot feeling like I'd been completely erased. But I didn't call anyone. I didn't beg to be let back in. I just went home. Then things got worse in ways I hadn't anticipated. The first real betrayal came when I received a forwarded email by accident. Someone had CC'd me on an old thread that got revived. It was Jason filing updated property paperwork for the land sale. All the documents that had previously listed me as a co-signer on family business matters had been refiled. My name was just gone, replaced with Jason's sole signature, like I'd never existed. The second betrayal happened through the family grapevine. My cousin Maria called me, awkward and uncomfortable. Apparently, Dad had been calling relatives explaining his decision to cut me off. He was telling everyone that I'd tried to block a good business deal out of jealousy, that I couldn't handle Jason being successful, that I'd always been difficult and this was the final straw. People I knew my entire life were hearing a completely false version of events, and I had no way to defend myself. The third betrayal was the one that made me realize something was seriously wrong. I still had access to the county public records system because of my compliance work. Out of curiosity, I looked up the permit filings for the land sale. The signatures on the county documents looked strange. Dad's signature on the transfer authorization was dated 2 weeks before he'd actually agreed to the sale. I knew this because I'd been at a family dinner that night, and the sale hadn't even been mentioned yet. The dates didn't match the timeline. I went back through my archived emails and pulled up scanned copies of property files I'd saved to my cloud storage years when I was organizing the family business documents. I'm meticulous about backups. It's part of my job. I started comparing the original documents with what had been filed at the county office. The sale was being rushed through at below market value, and the paperwork had irregularities I couldn't ignore. I quietly requested certified property records from the county office, official copies with authentication stamps. Meanwhile, Jason was growing more confident by the day. I heard through Maria that he'd told people at a family gathering, "It's done. The sale closes next week. Rachel's out of the picture."
What Jason and Dad didn't know, what nobody in my family had ever really paid attention to, was what I actually do for a living. I'm not just someone who files paperwork. I specialize in regulatory compliance audits for insurance companies. I review complex documents all day, looking for inconsistencies, altered records, anything that doesn't match up. I understand document authentication protocols. I know how to read digital timestamp trails and metadata. I took the county certified property filings and compared them line by line with the original drafts I'd saved on my personal cloud account years ago. Then I checked the metadata. Every digital document has hidden information embedded in it: creation dates, modification dates, author information. The metadata told a very clear story. The documents had been edited after the date of Dad's supposed signature. Someone had gone back and changed things retroactively. I spent 2 weeks building a structured compliance report, the same kind I'd create for a professional audit. I documented every discrepancy, every timestamp that didn't match, every signature that appeared on a date when it couldn't have been physically signed. I formatted it professionally, highlighted the key findings, and attached the certified county records as supporting evidence. Then I saved it as a PDF. And I didn't warn anyone. I didn't send a threatening email or make demands. I just waited for the right moment. The person who helped me most during all of this was someone my family had forgotten about. Linda Perez had been the office manager for the family construction business for almost 8 years. She'd left abruptly about 6 months ago after disagreements with Jason about how he was running things. She'd tried to talk to Dad about some concerning financial decisions, and Jason had convinced Dad she was being disloyal, so she quit. I ran into her at a coffee shop 3 weeks after I'd been disowned. We started talking and I mentioned what had happened with the land sale. Her face changed immediately. "Rachel, you need to know something," she said quietly. She still had backup copies of internal company emails from her time there. She'd kept them because she was worried something like this might happen. The emails showed Jason pushing hard to get the land sale finalized quickly, specifically scheduling the signing for right before Dad's scheduled knee surgery. Dad would be on pain medication and distracted. Linda forwarded me everything she had: email chains I no longer had access to, messages showing Jason coordinating with his business associate, discussing how to structure the deal to avoid Dad asking too many questions. There was even one email where Jason wrote, "We need to move fast before Rachel starts digging into the numbers." Linda met me twice more, helping me organize the timeline and fill in the gaps in my documentation. Meanwhile, Jason was preparing the final transfer confirmation. The closing date was set. The family believed I was permanently cut off, completely out of the picture. Nobody expected me to have any way to fight back. The announcement came on a Tuesday evening. Jason posted in the family WhatsApp group, the one I'd been removed from weeks ago. I only knew about it because my cousin Maria screenshotted it and sent it to me privately. "Great news, everyone," Jason had written. "The property sale is finalized. This is going to be great for the family business. Thanks for all your support during this transition." Celebration emojis filled the chat. Congratulations from aunts and uncles. Dad had even posted a message saying he was proud of Jason for handling everything so well. Then something unexpected happened. My cousin Dylan, who'd always been the curious one, the person who asked uncomfortable questions at family gatherings, he added me back to the group, just temporarily. Later, he told me he wanted to see what I'd say, if I'd cause drama or beg to come back. Instead, I posted one file, a PDF titled County Certified Property Report, Monroe Land Parcel. Nothing else. No message, just the file. 30 seconds later, I posted a second file, Document Metadata Analysis, Signature Timeline Comparison. Then I typed one sentence. The timestamps don't match. The group chat went completely silent. You know how WhatsApp shows when people are typing, 3 dots appearing and disappearing? I watched Dad start typing, stop, start again, then stop completely. Then the questions started. My cousin Sarah wrote, "What timestamps?" I posted a third file, highlighted excerpts from the county certification showing the dates the documents were supposedly signed versus the dates they were actually modified, every discrepancy color-coded and annotated. My Uncle Richard, who's an attorney, downloaded the files immediately. I could see him go offline, probably opening them on his computer. Jason tried to delete his original message, but it was too late. Screenshots were already circulating in private chats. Maria told me later that 4 different family members had saved everything within the first 2 minutes. Dad sent me a private message. Just 3 words. Call me. Now. The property transfer got frozen temporarily pending legal clarification. The title company pulled the documents when questions started being raised about signature authenticity and authorization dates. Dad sat down with me 3 days later at a neutral location, a quiet restaurant neither of us had been to before. He'd reviewed all the evidence I'd posted, he'd had his own lawyer look at it, and he'd confronted Jason privately. Jason admitted he'd rushed things, that he'd maybe cut some corners with the paperwork, but he insisted the deal itself was fine. Dad looked older when we met. Tired. He didn't apologize for the disowning message. He didn't say he was wrong, but he acknowledged that I'd been right to question the sale. The family didn't exactly welcome me back with open arms. The WhatsApp group message stayed up for 2 days before Dad finally deleted it, but everyone had already seen it. The screenshots existed forever. I wasn't invited to the next family dinner, but I also wasn't dismissed anymore. People started asking me questions again, about documents, about filings. Jason stopped making unilateral decisions. I set clear boundaries after that. I stopped handling business paperwork for the family. I told Dad that if he needed compliance work, he could hire a professional. I was done doing invisible labor that nobody valued until it was inconvenient. The reflection I kept coming back to was simple. I didn't argue with them. I didn't send long emotional messages or beg them to listen. I just posted facts. Clear, documented, certified facts. And silence, it turned out, became leverage. Because when you don't waste energy defending yourself, you can spend that energy building an airtight case instead. If someone has publicly humiliated you to protect their own decisions, you understand exactly how this feels. Family group chats can turn into public trials in seconds, with everyone watching and judging. If you've experienced this, please share your experience in the comments below. Subscribe if you believe that documentation protects the truth when people try to rewrite it. Click hype to help this story reach others who need to know that quiet people aren't powerless. We're just strategic. Standing up quietly isn't easy, but sometimes it's the most powerful thing you can do. If you've been there, please subscribe and join this community of people who understand. Click hype if this story meant something to you, if you've ever been dismissed and then proven right. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel and knowing we're not alone in these experiences. Thank you for being here.